Hello, and welcome to Leadership Nutrition Secrets. Today, I'm going to talk you through how to boost your performance and avoid burnout just by focusing on your nutrition. Now, of course, you will need to look at other areas to maximize the results you would get, but we're going to focus primarily on nutrition today. Who is this for? This is designed for leaders who want to improve their health and performance, the best out of their health in business, their health with their family, and ultimately be the best they can be. I've had 8+ clients that I've helped with their nutrition, with their fitness, with their mindset to become the best versions of themselves. Included amongst my clients have been nutritionists, brain surgeons, psychologists, ex-forces, pro athletes, Elon Musk team members, an international best-selling wellness author. And many of my clients have had issues, had that we still manage to work around. And nutrition has been a major factor in doing that. So we've had things like lumbar fusion, spinal spondylosis, heart disease, metabolic disease, disease, cancer. And by focusing on the right strategies, every single person has been able to make a transformation and improve their health and mental and physical performance. Ultimately, the to get today, you can do nothing with it or take action and make something work for you. So ultimately, that's the only way that anything is going to change. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. Bruce Lee has been a major influence in my life from my early teenagers. Maybe for you too. So what peak performance executive do? How do we marry the nutrition into peak mental performance, peak physical performance, and improving body shape? Well, it has to have all factors optimized to make it have the best results. Today, we'll go through the nutritional aspect. If you're lucky enough to have your recovery in place, your movement strategies in place, then you're going to get some really big results with this. But if you don't, then maybe that's something you need to think about. You need to optimize your recovery, which is your sleep and your stress management, and maybe your movement practices, which is your mobility, which is your weightlifting, which is your cardio, whatever that might be, to keep you active and keep the system in flow. Because ultimately, nutrition is only there to feed our body the nutrients. We have to maintain that state of flow so that we can utilize those nutrients, use those nutrients in the right places to help us develop a better mental, cognitive abilities, to have better peak physical performance, and also the health, which is a factor with our. So there's 4 areas that I go through with my clients, and I want you to take these on board, write them down. Or if you want the slides, if you're interested in the slides, it might be that you don't have to write it down. Just comment slides below this post, and then I'll send you the slides. But ultimately, there's 4 key areas. Number 1, we need to look at establishing your primary goal. Unless we know your primary goal, we're not going to be able to be specific with your nutrition. So what I mean by that is maybe you want body improvement, which is to lose 40 pounds. You want to avoid burnout, depression. That might be just maximize your nutritional element. So because most problematic people are approaching burnout, there's psychological stress, there's emotional stress, and there's physical stress. And usually nutritional deficiencies are a big component of that. And then sometimes if you've had a health scare, you might have to change your nutrition drastically to maximize the results you can get from nutrition scare. I have an autoimmune condition, work with many different types of autoimmune conditions. In some cases, that might mean somebody stops eating carbs so as they reduce inflammation. and eats more protein-based diets. So there's small things like that, that the specificity will make a big difference. Also, if you're just training to or you just want your nutrition optimized for mental performance, but you're not so worried about physical performance or body image, then it's going to be slightly different. So it's very important to focus on your primary goal first. And the next thing is prepare for, there's three more stages. Ultimately, we want to look at what is stopping you from eating the foods or having the nutrition in line towards your goal. Is it something like you're emotional eating, so you keep eating more than what you want to of the wrong foods? That's something we'll touch on in a minute. That could be a blockage. So we need to address the blockages first. If it's knowledge, and that's obviously why you're here today, then you take what I give you here, personalize it for yourself. And if you find it doesn't help, then obviously book a call. But here is, you need to try and remove your blocks before you start implementing, and that'll get you the best results possible. So you need to also have a strong why when you're focusing towards your goal. You probably know this, but having a strong why will make sure that you keep moving forward towards your goal with any nutrition strategy. Whenever you're maybe extra stressed, whenever maybe you haven't slept, or whatever it might be, the key emotional driver will keep you focused moving forward. For me personally, I want to live. I have a autoimmune condition, so I had to give up alcohol to protect my liver, because my liver has a high opportunity to have a lot of problems over the next few years towards the end of my life. And the key for me was alcohol, remove it, because it's a toxin in the body. I loved it, but I had to make that decision. So that's a strong emotional driver for me to change other aspects of my nutrition. So figure out, maybe it's for you to change your nutrition, something to do with health. Is it something to do with your family? Or maybe it's just so you feel better, so that you can be the best leader you can be for your family and in business. Okay. The nutritional strategies that are working towards your primary goal. So you're always going to have a grocery list of the foods that are ideal for you, all your staple foods and all your snack food, because if you don't prepare, you're probably going to mess up at some point. I've done it. Everybody does it. My clients do it. It's just one of those things that the better you prepare, the more likely you are to achieve your primary goal. Your diet has to be, or your nutrition plan has to be, balanced with protein, carbs, and fats in the respect towards your primary goal. You have to have regular meal timing to help your blood sugar, because when your blood sugar crashes, that's when you have energy slumps. Hydration, this is extremely important. Your water and electrolytes. Water alone will not hydrate you. You need to make sure you're balanced with your electrolytes also. This is all to help you optimize digestion in this first phase. And then fix any nutritional deficiencies that you might have, because if you have a nutritional deficiency, you're always going to have a craving for something which might not fill that gap of what the nutritional deficiency would need filled. So you might be eating packets of Lay's, you might be eating cookies or something like that, because you always feel hungry. When in actual fact, you might need more vitamin A or omega-3 in your nutrition plan to help be more balanced. So once you start that program, it's a foundational phase to fix your digestion and get yourself into some balance. You start tracking your results towards your goal. And ultimately, then you're going to have to track and optimize as you go along, because your metabolism will adapt, your digestion will adapt, and obviously, then your sleep might have highs and lows, your exercise practices highs and lows, your stress might have highs and lows. So this is why it's very important to track as you go along, so you can understand your patterns at your best and your patterns at your worst. And then from there, that's how you would adjust your nutrition plan towards your primary goal as you go along. It's not a set it and forget it scenario. I'm sure most people think that's the case, but it's not. You have to constantly change it to support your highs and lows. So patterns could be weight fluctuations, your sleep quality, your mental performance, your physical performance. Where you have crashes, that'll be energy crashes, blackouts, anxiety, immunity, or reactions like you come out in boils or spots, or maybe you feel joint pain or whatever it might be. So when you're badly nutritional deficient, then you'll have some signs of potential burnout and the signs that your body needs nutrients. I as myself, my autoimmune condition where I was wrongly diagnosed with having um, arthritis, and it turned out it was iron overload disease, and that was a good thing because it meant I could work and fix it. But ultimately, it's all about becoming self-aware of the signs of where your body is in dire need of a tune-up with your nutrition. So unexplained aches, pains, easily getting injured would be a sign. Really bad sleep. You think you're getting 7 to 8 hours a night, but you still wake up feeling groggy. You're not refreshed. You have maybe bouts of negativity, just unexplained negativity. You don't know why. You have brain fog, low energy, low blood sugar, and you have low sex. These are all signs that you need to optimize your nutrition, and you could be approaching burnout. I've burnt out myself. I know it's not nice, and in some cases it can take a long time to get yourself back to baseline, to standard, if you're not careful. This is why I talk about, before you want to optimize everything for your primary goal, the simplest way to approach this is go through some baseline nutrition principles that I'll go through next. Most people I spoke to, most of the 800 plus clients I spoke, were not establishing the baseline nutrition I go through next. They weren't following the baseline principles. And so that was a good thing, because it meant that by following the baseline principles, they already got a big bonus, a big boost in energy. They felt better, their mindset was better, all the things that added to their sleep improved, to optimizing your baseline. Conquering eating is in amongst this baseline nutrition, because those that I have experienced that are emotional eating, when they fix their baseline nutrition as well, sometimes we have to do some stress management work, but the baseline nutrition, getting the right nutrients, can make a massive difference in how their mindset is. So they're not emotional eating anymore because they're managing stress better. So stay hydrated. This is a really easy and really effective goal that most people really underestimate. So signs that you're dehydrated. As I said before, you're going to get the download of the slides if you comment slides below. So no need to worry about getting this. You can freeze this or whatever you want to do in a recording afterwards as well. But the key here is, if your urine is dark, a lot of times that's a strong sign you're dehydrated. If you're taking B vitamins, of course, then it could be just the B vitamins, but it's something to look out for. If you're getting brain fog all the time, I've seen myself get brain and go and make a bottle of Evian. I'm talking about a 1.5 liter bottle of Evian, and my brain fog cleared in about 15 minutes. That was just simply hydration. And why do I mention Evian? Because it has all your essential electrolytes in it. So if you want to burn fat, if your goal is to burn fat as well, your body will not burn fat properly when it is dehydrated. And your physical performance will be extremely subpar when you're dehydrated. So hydration, number, talk about hydration, how you can do it here with fruits. Get your fruits and veg in, and that'll be extra ways to get your hydration. You don't have to drink. My guideline is per 55 pounds of body weight, maybe drink 1 liter of water per day. I personally drink about 6 liters of water a day based on my activity, my weight, and everything else. To talk nutritional deficiencies, If you're looking at the slides or watching this in a recording, you can freeze frame this. These are common symptoms related to body parts and nutritional deficiencies attached. So you might want to look into this for some obvious signs of the vitamins and minerals you're lacking. You can get them either in supplement form or get them from your food. So the goal here is, as a baseline nutrition, simply try to eat a balanced meal every 3 to 4 hours. What is a balanced meal? Something that's balanced with proteins, carbohydrates, fats. Here's an example: some chicken, some quinoa, and some perfect balance. Then we're going to go on to talk about emotional eating, and we've covered the baseline nutrition, those 3 areas. So if you're still emotional after optimizing your baseline nutrition, the problem's stress. Obviously, you know that, right? But the key to managing the stress is to talk about it and to have a strategy to work around it. You need to create boundaries. You might need to optimize your time. You might need to lower expectations with something. You might need to talk to people to make sure you're respected in the way you deserve, so you're not overloaded. So there's many different strategies I work through with my clients. That's what you need to look at if the baseline nutrition does not fix this. But on the nutritional side, if you want to optimize the emotional eating or stop that happen, then just stop the foods that you're emotionally eating. Don't have them in the house. It's as simple as that. If they're not there, you won't eat them. I know you can still make that effort to go to the shop and get those foods, but the more friction you can create between you and that habit, the less likely you are to keep doing that habit. I've done this with alcohol myself, and it's very simple. Eliminate, move away from it, try not to have it inside, and you'll move forward. Something I want to talk about here regarding burnout as emotional eating can be a sign of. 21% of workers say their company does not offer an effective program to alleviate burnout. And why it's effective? Because it doesn't have proper, actionable health improvements, mental health and physical health, because that's really what's going to help get you better if you're approaching burnout. So there's something that you maybe need to look into with your company leaders if you want to improve performance, is optimize their health, their nutrition, their mindset. A lot of these other tips are not practical. So strategies for optimal mental performance, essential for leadership roles and sales roles. Anybody that's in sales will know this, because probably most of your day is getting no's and the small percentage is yes. So it's managing uh, the downs of that, because the emotional drain on that is high, which means there's oxidative stress, and then we have to manage that with your nutrition. We do that, incorporate healthy snacks instead of high calorie snacks, which are maybe going to have lots of sugars in them, and then we'll get a high and then crash. We want some more sustainable energy snacks. So we could be having something like Greek yogurt with berries and a handful of nuts. Fruit foods. Protein helps the body repair. It's essential for every cell in the body to transmit energy, right? So your thought process will improve when you've got more protein system for recovery. So if you're highly stressed, your body needs extra recovery, which is protein. You don't need to be bodybuilding. You don't need to be running marathons to eat extra protein. It's essential for every cell in our body to repair. So if you're optimizing protein in your nutrition plan, you will find a dramatic improvement. Omega fatty acids, so that's salmon, mackerel, sardines, include plant-based sources even, like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. Essential for real acute cognitive improvements. Antioxidant-rich foods. This one is an amazing no-brainer. Dark chocolate, your berries, vegetables, spinach, kale, bell peppers. Basically, what trying to do is filter out the toxins out of your system. So that's what antioxidant-rich food you do. And it's something that having heavy toxins in my system from iron, from my autoimmune condition, I have to be really careful about optimizing that expression of toxins in my body. So that's something that you should look into for mental performance. And whole grains for slow, sustainable energy. Okay, so your oats, your whole grain options like quinoa, brown rice, whole bread, those types of things. If you have digestive issues, then obviously you might need to stay away from this. But then fruits could be a replacement for this more regular, because the energy spike you're going to get from fruits is obviously faster. So maybe for that mental clarity, you want to focus on structuring your nutrition plan in such a way that the carbohydrates are going to fuel your mind along with the fats. Now, for some of you that might prefer carbohydrate or low carbohydrate diets and go something like carnivore, it's not something I'm a fan of. I've tried it in the past. I've tried keto. I've tried all these things, and the long-term benefits just didn't appeal to me at the time. I didn't. I actually felt more energy using carbs. So it's important to understand: is your body able to utilize fats more efficiently? I just feel that my body is not, and that's why I don't. So it has to be personalized, of course, but that's something for you to think about. Boost your B intake. You'll get a lot of these from your red meat. So also from fish, poultry, eggs, dairy. And so it's one of those things that your B vitamins, you can buy them, you get your B6, 12, and then you'll see increase in your energy. Also, not everyone needs them, and I feel like sometimes they're overused. And especially if you find your urine, if you start taking the supplements, suddenly starts going a dark yellow and glowing in the dark. That's what happens with extra B vitamins. Right? Eat magnesium food. This is essential for brain health and recovery from stress. Foods like almonds, spinach, avocados, dark chocolate, or a magnesium supplement, magnesium glycinate, magnesium are two versions of magnesium you want to look for. Magnesium oxide is the cheapest version and usually will give you a lot of gastrointestinal distress. So try to stay for the more quality versions of magnesium. It will help you sleep better. It will just help your body relax. It will help your muscle relax as well after a lot of activity. Next, we're going to peak physical performance through nutrient time. So we're going to base workout nutrition on a normal 60-minute workout. So you'll have pre-workout nutrition, which will be your balanced meals that you've been every 2 to 4 hours. You've been having meals, and that'll keep your blood sugar adequate. And you should have adequate nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in your body to help you support a session. Now, if your meal timing before a workout is going to happen 1 hour, maybe 30 minutes before, actually avoid fats before the workout and optimize carbohydrates. So carbohydrates could be oats with honey, banana, and then some Greek yogurt, something like that. If your timing before your workout is only going to be like 1 hour, 30 minutes, but you could eat a big meal 2 hours before. Now, a big meal eaten too soon before workout is going to cause gastrointestinal distress, and it's going to potentially make your performance through that workout suffer really badly and have an stomach. Okay, intra-workout nutrition during a shorter workout of 60 minutes, unless it's a race or performance-based event, I typically wouldn't advise workout nutrition. Some people like to have sports drinks into workout. I'd say it's better to focus on pre-workout and post-workout to optimize that standard workout nutrition. So obviously after the workout, you can eat one of your balanced meals, one of your fats, proteins, just as you like. A tip here is I like to have my dessert after a workout because I just work the metabolism to be sky high. So after the workout, then I know it's not really going to burn more calories across the day, but it'll just give me that peace of mind as long as it's included in my nutrition plan. It's to upset my progression towards my primary goal. Right. So the timing after a workout can be anything up to 2 hours after the workout. If you've eaten a balanced meal, 2 hours pre-workout, and you're adequately hydrated, as I've just said, and you want an extra boost for your standard 60-minute workout, caffeine 34 can be in the form of coffee, maybe an energy drink. Personally, if I'm using an energy drink pre-workout, I would maybe use something like a Monster, a zero, because I feel that if I've got the sugars from berries or kiwi fruit or something simple like that before the workout, I'll get more sustainable power through the workout. Whereas if I have it with sugar in the drink, sometimes I feel that it can make the caffeine overloading my mind and my cardiorespiratory response. So that might be something to think about if you're taking caffeine pre-workout and feel that it actually makes you suffer with your cardio instead of improve it. Always, of course, manage your electrolytes. So this is talking on the basis of a 60-minute workout. I talked about there, we're talking about if it's an event, you might want intra-workout nutrition. If it's an event also, you want to maybe load 1 or 2 days before it, which means eating more things like your sweet potato, your oats, your grains. So if you have plenty of glycogen stores in your liver and in your muscles, glycogen is basically carbohydrates and fuel. So one of my clients, Dana, 54, know him already. If you do, connect with him on Strava, and it might be motivation for you doing your runs. He does a lot of running, and we devised a plan to optimize his nutrition and tweak his workout strategy so that he and improve performance. He his personal record from 28 years ago, only working with me for 90 days. And this was just a trial race, but it beat the result from 28 years ago by fine-tuning his nutrition, fine-tuning his workout strategies, and his recovery. So for something longer event like a triathlon, a marathon, in this case, this was me doing the largest obstacle course in the world, something that's going to be 3 to 4 hours. Of course, you want to carb day before the event, just as I talked about that Dana did for the shorter event. But you also want to make sure then that during the event, if you're able, that you have sugar, could be gel, sometimes biscuits, dry biscuits, which are full of carbs, like oat biscuits, to eat during the event. Obviously, stay hydrated as well. Make sure you're getting your salt tablets, electrolytes, to help you aid with that performance. A lot of people will use electrolytes mixed with caffeine gels, but I have found personally, and with a lot of my clients, that it actually upsets the stomach. And the last thing you want for our event is diarrhea, trust me, right? So if you're going to use anything for an event, always test it first, plenty of time before the event, so replicate the exact nutritional strategy you're going to use for the event and know you're comfortable with it. And then, of course, afterwards, you're going to get all those nutrients back in the system again, especially your protein to help you repair. Then climb Mont Blanc, which for me was a 3-day event, and we didn't have a lot of food available to us. So for something that's a higher level of an event like that, you could be in an adventure race or triathlons or multiple marathons in multiple days, ultramarathon runners. So I've coached ultramarathon runners who've done I think it was 7 ultramarathons in 7 days, and we had to optimize nutrition and performance for that. The goal here is I allowed myself to put on a bit of extra body fat before this. I know 3 days. I had also wanted to climb Mount Everest after I came back from Blanc. And so then that would have been a week later, and I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of fuel in the system. So the extra body fat would have helped keep warm by optimizing my carbohydrates and everything beforehand. I would have been able to be the best performance I could be at it. Unfortunately, it didn't go ahead for Everest because the funding didn't come through in time. But this approach you would take if you're going to be using nutrition for a higher level event like that. This was after I prolapsed 4 discs in my spine also. This was about a year later, just to prove that when the doctors tell you have an injury, you can't get past it. So using the right strategy, you might be able to. Okay, so enough of that. On to mastering body image and nutrition. So this is where you want to build muscle, burn fat, and just look great in the mirror, look great naked. So ultimately, you need to know your calories. So everything else we talked about was the how, the when, but you need to know some of the finer details. Now, one thing I will say, whenever we talked about going phase 3 or where you start to implement your nutritional strategy towards your primary goal, you're learning through this phase, and what you start with is not a set it and scenario. Now, saying that, a lot of calorie calculators online are way off the mark. Stuff like MyFitnessPal and those calorie apps can be way off the mark. Yeah, you might lose mass, but the calories generally are too, and unless you have metabolic adaptation, or you're not sleeping, or you have high stress in your life, which is going to damage your metabolism, then it's not going to give you the right details. Not that this 100% either, just as a disclaimer, but it's better calculated. And this is what I use myself with my clients, so that we can understand the starting point, and then we monitor them consistently of the recovery, with their nutrition and with their exercise, so that we can understand exactly what to tweak and change as we go along. So this formula here, your basic metabolic rate is the calories you need currently, just to stay as you are. So we need to figure that out first before we decide what your calories are to, let's say, add on bulk of muscle, decrease body fat, or maybe both, a recomposition. So you'll have to do some conversions with this. 2.2, everything here is in kilograms. So you need to then convert it afterwards. If you're working it out in pounds, you have to divide by 2.2, put it in kilograms. So 13.57 by your lean body mass. So how does that work? That works trying to understand your body fat percentage. You can guess it. You can go and get a DEXA scale. DEXA, that, here's how you could guess it to see roughly where you are. Just use a chart, something like this here, and then you'll be able to know your lean body mass. So if you're 25% body fat, your lean body mass is 75% of your body. Your mass, 25% of your body. So what you want to do here is plug these into the equation and work out what the number is. The number you get in this Muller equation will then be multiplied by your activity level, right? So activity level, as you can see, is here, where we multiply it by 1.2 for sedentary, for light active 1.375, for moderately active, if you're exercising 3 to 5 times per week, you multiply it by 1.55, and if you're very active 5 to 7 times per week, we multiply it by 1.75. Just remember the starting point. It might not be 100% correct, and that's the unfortunate reality. I can fine tune this in a few days with client and understand from metrics straight away how to fine tune it. It's understanding, do you then, once you work out your maintenance calories, that's what you need to stay where you're at based on your activity and everything that's involved here. Then understand deficit calories to lose fat. So deficit calories, if you want a pound a week, is typically lose 500 calories per day from that equation. If you want to lose 2 pounds per week, it's roughly 1,000 calories per day from that equation. This won't be exact for everybody, but it's a starting point. If you want to bulk, you want to do the opposite of that, but if you want to add on lean muscle and you're already lean, I would actually suggest, instead of just banging in an extra 500 or an extra 1,000 calories a day so that you can add on bulk quick, the issue can be there that you're going to add on a lot of fat. We want to make sure that if you're focused on building muscle, we make it as quality as possible, because otherwise you bulk on, add on a lot of fat, and you're only going to have to cut a lot of that in anyway. So it's a lot of effort. So typically with clients that add on muscle are already pretty lean, and we'll start adding 200 to 300 calories a day, and then we'll gradually increase that to see how their body responds until we get the magic number that's working ideally towards their goal. Things to think of when you're working out your calories. Okay, you obviously have to start on this and test it. If you're losing the weight you want to at the end of week 1, then that's good. You keep with it. If you're not the weight you might need to change your calories by 100, up or down, depending on which way you're going. It could be more, it could be 200, it could be 300. That's a starting point. Okay. So the energy expenditure will make a big difference to your calories as well. So sometimes we can be guilty of judging others and saying they're the same weight as me. How can they eat twice as many calories and still lose, say? Well, maybe activity levels, complete activity levels, are much higher than yours. So the fact if you're in an office stuck at a desk all day, or you're a remote worker stuck at a desk all day, you have very little activity. The problem is that your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is extremely low, and that actually contributes towards the amount of calories you need or you burn in a day. It actually contributes more than exercise. Exercise is only 5 to 15%. Non-exercise activity can be 25%. So the simple element to help you with that is walk more. Go and walk more. Go make sure your activities around the house. Instead of getting the elevator when you go somewhere, take the steps. All those little things will add up across the course of the day to help your baseline NEAT, NEAT. So that's something to think about also. Your calories, because if you're not tracking them, it's guesswork, and then you have no balance to weigh up on energy. You might get results for a short amount of time, but trust me, I'm 25 years roughly tracking calories. I don't do it all the time, but whenever I have been supposedly intuitive and then I realize I started on a bit of, I catch myself in the mirror and I look and I go, oops, some of the fat's coming back. Then I have to start tracking calories. So if I spent 25 years doing this on and off to stay in my best shape, I can nearly guarantee that most people, clients, them can't intuitively eat. We all track in a way that works for us to help manage our calories. Sometimes that's a fixed meal plan where you just buy a calorie control. Sometimes that's where you have a cook or a chef do it for you, or you cook it yourself and you know the calories from the meal prep, or you track it as you go along and you then have more flexibility with the foods you can eat as long as they fit the requirements of your nutrition strategy towards your primary goal. And the reason this picture is because you can severely underestimate what a couple of teaspoonfuls in your mind or one spread of peanut butter on the bread is. You know, it could be double what you think it is. And it's important to read labels as well, because they're 20% inaccurate. It could be more, it could be less. So, and then it's also not meant of serving size. Sometimes an item might say a serving size, let's say it was 500 grams. It might say on it, size is 250 grams, and there's 2 serving sizes in this packet, when you've been thinking you've been taking 1 serving size. So small details like that can make a difference over the course of a week, and extra calories over could be enough to take you out of a deficit and back into maintenance, which means you're at a rate you will not change. If you want to improve your nutrition for, you have to understand that it is not a straight line. This is typically how it looks, and this is why you need to consistently monitor and look at the analytics and tracking. When you do each time, and you'll know that okay, I know patterns. I know body's response. Might be lack of sleep, it might be a fun weekend, it might be a vacation, it might be whatever it is. There's going to be highs and lows, but the more you know how to manage your patterns, the more you can make this consistent over time. Balance is not eat everything balanced in one day. It's eat it in every single meal. For example, sometimes you might have a meal that is a lot more carbs. You might have a meal that's a lot more fats, as long as you're getting them in ideally over the day. But if you want to manage your mental and cognitive abilities, try to make sure that your hydration and is matched along with your meals, and you do try to work towards having your carbohydrates minimal and your fats increase a lot around those key important moments that you're going to need more a nutritional or more mental performance. Because I've had clients go for meetings and we fine-tuned less carbs and more fats before the meeting, and their cognitive abilities have been much better. They've been able to answer questions better, been able to have recall better, so for investor meetings and items like this. So it's important to understand again primary goal. So body image, and this is my recent. We had to work through everything. Nutrition is a key component, but as we talked about the ups and downs, stress, digestive issues, getting hormones balanced, which will happen to anybody that is typically highly stressed. Your hormones, whether you're not, and if you're not sleeping right, your hormones are out of balance. If your digestion is up the left, the likelihood you're not absorbing the foods you need to keep your hormones in balance, so your hormones are out of balance. So these are things that you have to think about. So over the course of 236 days, 29 months, he increased his strength by 174%, placing him in the top 1% of 175,000 tonal users. He lost 34.8 pounds, but he also put on a lot of muscle. So this is what we call a body recomposition. So if you're looking at the weight on the scales consistently, people clients lose 40 pounds in 8 weeks. Right? Some people might turn around and say 34.8 pounds across 9 months, but ultimately, because he's put on so much muscle, as he's lost the fat, obviously he's lost a ton more fat than 34.8 pounds. It's just that's the weight he's lost. So these are things to think about when you're doing a body improvement program. You can improve muscle density whilst losing fat. So that's the body recomposition. But you have to be very strategic with how you do it, because most people that lose weight end up weak as a kitten, in Mike's words, because he did lose weight before. He lost 30 pounds before, and he was a complete shape, and he was completely different strength. He didn't increase his strength by 174%. So, and this is not using any drugs. This is not using any peptides like that. I don't use that with my clients. We focus on the basics of nutrition and good solid strategies that I use myself at 46 years old. This is something to think about. So take the information, stay, work out, the primary goal, understand then your meal timings when you need fats and carbs and everything else, and then remove your blocks. Remove or stopping you make an emotional commitment to achieving your goal. That is paramount. That will make sure that you stay consistent, because it's self-belief at the end of the day, and self-belief is what's going to help you win. So imagine you've already achieved the goal, and imagine the person has achieved the goal. How is their life different to what your life is different right now? That's key. Put yourself in the frame of the future person that achieved the goal. So then you implement the nutritional strategies. You focus on fixing your digestion first in the first 2 4 weeks, depending how long it takes you. And then after that, you're consistently tracking progress so that you can optimize, fine tune, and get yourself your best mentally, being in the best you can possibly be. So that's all for today. Does anybody have any comments? Does anybody have any questions? So if you get stuck and you need help, you can reach out to me, peakperformanceexecutive.com. We'll understand, well, where do you need the most work? Where in exercise strategy, or where in your recovery components do you need the most work to help you achieve your best mental performance, your best physical performance, or your best body shape? So I'll leave it at that. I don't see any questions. And that's today's webinar over. Thank you.